Ethan is staring at a loan statement, month 41. He still owes $19,000 on a car he traded in 2 years ago. He is paying for a vehicle sitting in someone else's driveway. If you are between 28 and 45 and carrying a car payment that feels bigger than it should, this is not a budgeting problem. It is a debt architecture problem, and the way most dealerships are structured, they profit every time you do not understand the difference. Here's the number nobody tells you before you sign. Nearly 30% of people trading in a car right now owe more than that car is worth. The average gap is $7,214. That gap does not disappear when you hand over the keys. It follows you into the next loan, and then it compounds. That is what I call the rolled over debt. And once you understand the mechanics of how it works, you will never look at a trade-in offer the same way again. Let me take you back to the moment this all started for Ethan. And I want you to watch for the decision that looked completely reasonable at the time. It is spring of 2023. Ethan walks into a dealership. He has been driving the same car for 2 years. The engine is fine. The payments are fine. But the new models are sitting right there under those lights, and the salesperson has already told him his trade-in is worth good money. He owes about $28,000 on his current vehicle. The dealer offers him $21,000 for it. The salesperson smiles and says the gap will just roll into the new financing. $7,000, barely more than his monthly rent. Ethan thinks he can absorb that. He signs. What Ethan does not fully process in that moment is what he just agreed to. He did not trade in a car and start fresh. He started the new load already $7,000 behind the starting line. He is financing a vehicle he just handed over. This is what I call the upside-down spiral. The rolled over debt is the first term, the amount cut into the new loan. The upside-down spiral is what happens when that pattern repeats. Because the debt does not just follow you once, it compounds every time you trade before the math recovers. Here is the mechanism. And I want to be specific because this is where most people lose the thread. When you buy a car new, it loses roughly 20% of its value in the first year alone. Kelley Blue Book has tracked this consistently for decades. By the end of year 2, you have lost close to 30% of the sticker price. The car is worth maybe $28,000, but your loan balance, because of how interest front loads in the early months, has barely moved. You might owe $26,000. You might owe $29,000. Depending on your down payment and your rate, you could be anywhere from slightly above water to seriously underwater. Now here is the part the dealer does not put on a whiteboard. When you roll that gap into a new loan, you are not borrowing money for a new car. You are borrowing money for a new car plus a ghost. You are paying principal and interest on a vehicle that is already gone. And because that rolled amount gets spread across a 72 or 84-month term, it disguises itself inside a monthly payment that feels manageable. Edmunds tracked this last quarter. The average monthly payment for buyers who rolled negative equity into a new loan was $916. The average for everyone else was $772. That $144 gap every month for 84 months is $12,096. Most of that is not a nicer car. It is the ghost of the last one. Ethan's new loan starts at $52,000. $45,000 is the car in front of him. $7,000 is the car behind him. He is making payments on both. He only has one. If you want to see what Salary to Strategy does with numbers like these every week, hit subscribe. We pull the data that dealers hope you scroll past before you sign anything. Now I want to show you what this looks like stretched across time, because this is where the upside-down spiral earns its name. Picture two lines. They start at the same point. The left side of the graph is the day you buy the car. The bottom line tracks how fast your loan balance drops. The top line tracks how fast the car's value drops. In a healthy loan, those two lines cross early and stay crossed. You build equity. You are right side up. But when you roll negative equity into the new loan, you push the starting point of that bottom line down below zero. You begin the race already behind. The car is depreciating from the top. Your loan balance is declining from below. The gap between them does not close for years. And if you trade again before those lines cross, you push the bottom line down again. Deeper this time. You are not just behind the starting line. You are borrowing from a loan that was already borrowing from a previous loan. Each cycle, the ghost gets heavier. Edmunds found last quarter that 27% of upside-down trade-ins carried more than $10,000 in negative equity. That is an all-time high. These are people financing somewhere between 1 and 2 cars simultaneously while sitting in only one of them. Let me stop here because I know the objection forming. You might be thinking Ethan knew what he was doing. He ran the numbers. He chose to absorb the gap. That is a reasonable choice, and you would be partially right. Rolling negative equity is not always catastrophic. There are situations where it is the least bad option, but here is where the data pushes back. Edmunds found that 40% of buyers in this position extend to an 84-month loan to manage the payment. 84 months, 7 years. The average car depreciates meaningfully inside that window, which means by the time you have paid down enough to reach positive equity, the car's value has dropped to meet you from the other direction. You are not building anything, you are running to stay in place. And the dealers understand this completely. A buyer with rolled negative equity who needs a lower monthly payment is a buyer who will extend the term. A buyer who extends the term is a buyer who will be underwater again in 2 years. The structure is designed to recycle the customer, not because anyone is being malicious, because the incentives point that way. The villain here is not the salesperson. It is the architecture of how the deal gets framed. Monthly payment versus total debt. Trade-in as relief versus trade-in as transfer. So where does this leave Ethan in month 41? He has made 41 payments of $916. That is $37,506 out of his account. He still owes $19,000 on a car that after 3.5 years is worth around $22,000. He is technically slightly above water now. Barely. But here is what Ethan is also calculating for the first time. Of those $37,000, he has paid roughly $7,200 is the original negative equity he rolled in, plus the interest on that amount across the loan term, which runs to about $2,400. He has paid nearly $10,000 over the course of this loan for a car he handed over in 2023. The car in his driveway has cost him its sticker price, plus the ghost price of the previous vehicle. He is only now starting to pay for the actual car in front of him. This is the real number, not the monthly payment, not the trade-in offer. The real number is what you have paid by the end in total for all the metal that has passed through your hands. Here's what the protocol looks like if you want to stop the spiral. Step 1. Before you think about a new car, find your payoff number. Log into your lender's account right now. Find the exact amount required to fully pay off your loan today. Then look up your car's market value on Kelley Blue Book or Edmunds. Use the trade-in estimate, not the private sale number, because that is what the dealer will actually offer you. If your payoff is higher than that trade-in value, you are underwater. You have a gap. Write that number down before you walk into any dealership. Step 2. Do not roll the gap. If you are underwater and you want to trade, the gap is your responsibility to close before you sign anything new. You can pay it down with savings. You can make extra monthly payments until the lines cross. You can wait. Waiting feels slow and frustrating, but it is the only option that does not multiply the debt. Every month you stay in the current car and pay down the balance is a month the spiral does not deepen. Step 3. If you genuinely need a different vehicle and cannot wait, consider the most boring version of that decision. A 3 or 4-year-old used car with a smaller loan. A shorter term, even if the monthly payment is higher, because a shorter term is the fastest way to reach positive equity and stay there. The payment that feels harder in the short term is the payment that breaks the cycle. Here's the reframe I want you to carry out of this. We talk about car payments as a monthly number. $144, $916. But those numbers are not the cost of the car. They are the cost of the car plus everything you brought with you from the last one. Ethan's $916 a month is not just transportation. It's $144 of obligation to a car he can no longer drive. Every month that payment goes out, some portion of it belongs to a vehicle in someone else's life. That is what the upside-down spiral actually costs, not in interest alone. In time, in months of your working life converted from optional to obligated, a $10,000 ghost does not sound like much. But at $916 a month, that ghost is claiming a portion of 11 months of your payments before you are even paying for what you have. Knowing your gap number before you walk into a dealership is not just financial hygiene. It is the single step that separates the buyer who builds towards something from the buyer who finances the past indefinitely. Drop your current payoff gap in the comments. Not your car, not your payment, just whether you are above water or below right now. I want to see what the real distribution looks like in this community, because I think a lot of people are carrying more ghost debt than they realize. If you are 28 to 45 and tired of watching every raise disappear into fixed obligations, hit subscribe. This is Salary to Strategy, and we map this kind of math every day.